You're following FreeED MOOC, making hybrid learning efficient and engaging, funded by Erasmus Plus project. And in this project, we have partners in Romania, Finland, Estonia, and Austria. And this is a module 6, fostering well-being in hybrid learning environments. I'm Tiina Mäkelä. I come from Finland, from the University of Jyväskylä, Finnish Institute for Educational Research and Innovative Learning Environments Research Group. Earlier in Unit 1, I gave an introduction to Learning Environment Design Framework and to some of the main concepts related to both learning and well-being. And now in this Unit 2, we are going to focus on aspects that can, how to balance communality with individuality. Let's start with the communality. It's an important aspect that can foster both learning and well-being. It's important always, but particularly if we work in distance, if we have remote periods, and then when we return to school after being physically isolated, it's important to pay attention to the quality of communality aspects. It has to do first with the teaching learning interaction, how to create collaborative environments, which can be both physical and virtual, that support learner collaboration, but also teacher collaboration, co-teaching and shared work between teachers. Then it's vital to pay attention on good social relations, and this can also happen both in physical and virtual environments that allow some sort of meetings and encounters. There are teacher-learner relations we know are important. So are the peer relations with other staff members, with the direction, and then homeschool relations. And now during the pandemic, we have noticed that organizing online parent conferences or parent meetings might actually be a very good way to involve more parents into the education of their children. Another communality-related aspect is a sense of belonging. This has to do with creating a shared vision, our school spirit. We can think of different spaces, physical and virtual, how to have different ceremonies and celebrations that foster this spirit. It's vital to keep space for involvement and self-expression, that everybody can be heard and influence and express oneself. This has to do with the well-being, but also learning. Then another aspects are the creating home-like environments, supporting this sense of ownership of spaces. It can mean creating homey interior design with curtains, carpets, pillows, and so on, or keeping personal things visible. In virtual environments, it might mean having images, personal images of background pictures present to create this homey atmosphere. We know spaces for collaboration and gathering, physical spaces are very important. It's important to have them. But on the other hand, as said, we can also enhance these spaces by providing virtual possibilities to encounters and collaboration. Then one more aspect related to communality is the safety. How to make sure that there's no behavioral disturbance or there's enough control in different spaces, and also possibilities to report problems if they arise. This has to do with the transparency, that there are no blind spots in physical or virtual environments. It's also related to psychosocial safety, that there's emotional, cognitive, and social feeling of safety. For instance, bullying prevention and intervention protocols may support this feeling of safety. And in general, it's important to have support personnel which is available both physically but also virtually. Physical safety is another important aspect, that spaces and equipment are safe and there are clear safety instructions, and that we are also prepared for emergency situations. And then this final element here is the safe distance, something that maybe we didn't think before the pandemic, how to create separate spaces, use various entrances, keep this safe distances. Sometimes it might also mean rotating, that part of the group is online and part of the group is on site. And we think that we should not forget these lessons we learned during the pandemic, because there might be also in the future need for this kind of safe distant measurements, for instance, in the flu periods that take place every year. Why not? Then, as mentioned, communality is very important aspect, but individuality should not be neglected. It's very important to take into account the needs for individualization, which might refer to personalized learning at own pace, giving opportunities to choose ways and spaces for learning. This might also mean that in some individual cases, some individuals might need to work from home, study from home, and this should be also considered how to organize this kind of, for instance, hybrid possibilities to attend the class from home. Personal relevance of studies is important, that there's a connection between the personal interests and meaningful communities and environments, and assessment as well should be personally relevant. We know that it should be learner-centered, that supports one's own development needs, and that there are possibilities for having this individual feedback. It can take place in physical environments, but also in virtual environments. Okay, then privacy and peacefulness. This is important in both physical and virtual and school and home environments. For instance, it's important to make sure that there's no noise disturbance, because this is very, very negative for well-being, that there's a soundproofing and acoustic to avoid noise. And when working in virtual environments, maybe the use of headsets may prevent creating additional noise in shared physical space. Then we should think how to avoid too much distractions, how to support concentration and calming down. This can mean, for example, using dimming curtains, or in virtual environments that we limit sometimes use of internet or social media, so as to focus on a specific topic. And privacy issues are important in both physical and virtual spaces. There should be spaces for private conversations, peaceful corners, or small and more closed hubs or virtual environments allowing this. And when working from home in virtual environments, one way to make sure that the privacy is safeguarded is to use blurring or neutral background images when having a video conference. These are some examples of soundproof design solutions that allow more private moments that can be found in many schools. Okay, so these were the topics related to communality and individuality, which I think are important to consider when designing hybrid environments, fostering well-being. Hopefully you got some ideas that you could start developing in your own learning environment. Thank you for watching and listening.